let us discuss the question. Shedeur Sanders, as you heard there, he wanted to show the Browns that he's who they've been looking for. Did he do that? Did he do that? All right, so I've got on this one, I've got Time Capsule, Aztec, and we also have Onion. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. So my first thought here is that this is if it's a sales pitch by Shedeur Sanders, the sales pitch went a little sideways. It did. Well, they won the game. What are you talking about? Why are you such a hater? Yeah. Shedeur Sanders showed Cleveland that he is not totally incompetent. He's still better at YouTube and TikTok, and occasionally he can find someone named Dylan Sampson or Isaiah Bond on a broken play and get a bunch of yards. Congratulations. On my scorecard, the Maller scorecard, Shedeur Sanders, he made two plays. And that means he's like every other Browns quarterback. Occasionally, it's the old line, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Well, Shedeur Sanders occasionally will find a big pass play. On my scorecard, he had a 52-yard pass play and a 66-yard pass play for a touchdown. And those are good highlights. Those are nice highlights and all that stuff. Outside of those plays, though, Shedeur Sanders completed 50% of the other passes that he attempted, 50%, averaged 5 yards per pass attempt outside the two broken plays. So the rest of the time, this was a time capsule game. Now, what was the time capsule? The time capsule game, go back a few years, it felt like Tim Tebow, watching Tim Tebow playing with the Malibu sunglasses. That's essentially what this was here. Tim Tebow time 2.0 is what it felt like. You had a lot of hype. You got a guy getting a lot of publicity here. A lot of, hey, this guy's so good. Oh, my God. We haven't done anything yet. And you get a lot of hype. And then not a lot there. Not a lot of meat on the bone. And let's not forget that Shedeur Sanders was not going against the 2000s Ray Lewis Ravens defense. He was not. He was not going against the Legion of Boom defense, although they have Pete Carroll, who put that team together back in the day. In Seattle, there were a couple of fireworks. Kaboom! Kerflooey! A couple of fireworks. And then there were some medicine balls he threw into the turf. There was some of that. And let's not forget also that the Raiders, they have a middling defense. There's zero fear factor when you talk about the Raiders defense in this game. And Shedeur's passer rating, again, we're judging him based on the full body of his work. And we're not just saying, well, what about the two big pass plays? Because, okay, those are broken plays. The consistent connecting on passes, driving the ball, leading the team down the field, he didn't do any of that. He just didn't. There was none of that for Shedeur Sanders. So outside of those two broken plays, he had a 41.6 passer rating, which I'm told is not good. And you don't need analytics to know that generally stinks. That's just kind of the way that it is. The Browns had 270 total yards, 11 first downs. 3 of those were gifted by penalty from the Raiders. That means the Browns offense with Shedeur Sanders, by my computer-like brain, they had all of 8 first downs that were not gifted to them by incompetence and malfeasance by the Raiders. You're supposed to be the future of the franchise. Shedeur Sanders, and you're getting, 5 yards a pass, and you had 8 first downs in the game. That's generally not what you're looking for. Not what you're looking for. That is a pop gun offense is what that is. Not even a water gun. That's a pop gun offense by the Browns. So did Shedeur Sanders prove that he's what the Browns are looking for? That would be an N-O with a capital N. N-O with a capital N. No, of course not. Bernie Kosar, who just got a new liver. Bernie Kosar could have gone out there in his sleep and would have, while ordering Uber Eats from Femi, who came down from Minnesota, and still would have done at least as well as that. And the Maller report card on Shedeur Sanders, I'm not going to be outraged. Am I going to give him an A? No, it's not an A. A B, a C, a D, an F. No, none of that. I give Shedeur Sanders an I for incomplete. The report card is incomplete. I give him an I. Did he drown? No, he didn't drown. Did he swim? Nah, not really. I wouldn't call that swimming. He floated. He had some water wings on, some floaties. And so that's good. He had the floaties. Good for him. And the Browns got a win, which is, I guess, exciting for them. They're happy about that. And, I guess the lifeguard didn't really need to go into the water too much, and so there's that. And is he the QB1? We'll see about that. Now, meanwhile, a lot of news from the Raiders as they made some headlines after the game, not any during the game. On the Vegas side, the Raiders said bye-bye to offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. And don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you as you're out. Chip Kelly whacked. What a great gig for Chip Kelly. Holy crap. I'm so jealous of Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly fired hours after the Raiders dropped to 2-9 on the season, and they lose to the Browns by a couple of touchdowns. So Chip Kelly is the fall guy. Got to have a fall guy. Raiders made Chip Kelly the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL this season. And the Raiders have been not only a football team, they've been absolutely dismal on offense. How bad is it? The loss to the Browns was their fifth straight, and congratulations to Raider Nation. You have clinched your fourth consecutive losing season, but wait, there's more, 18th losing season since the year 2002, which means if you're in your early 20s, your entire life, the Raiders have sucked. Like, your entire life, the Raiders have been terrible. Like, I'm kind of old, and when I was a kid, the Raiders were great. They won all the time. They had really good teams every year. They were in the playoffs seemingly every year. And now, God, they bad. Raiders through 11 games. Their offense is ranked 30th in the NFL. I'm told that's not good. 269 yards per game. That is ranked 31st in the NFL. They're averaging less than 16 points per game. So the question, what intrigues you the most about Chip Kelly being whacked as the Raiders offensive coordinator? So the thing that intrigues me the most is the Tom Brady part of this story. He is getting a full pardon by the other elites in the media. We're not part of the mainstream. We do an overnight show. We've been very critical of Tom Brady because he deserves it. He's done a terrible job. He's the Michael Jordan of NFL owners. And he only owns a small part of it. Well, Mark Davis didn't know what he's doing. Mark Davis is like, listen, I just want to eat P.F. Chang's, and I want to date younger women and play slot machines at the airport. Leave me alone. And Tom, this is your baby. Why don't you run this thing? And Tom's like, okay, I'll run it. And so Tom Brady's acting like an Aztec here. He's doing the human sacrifice is what he's doing. And we saw the fact that he does own just a small part of the Raiders, but it's enough where he's the general manager by proxy. He hired his old college buddy to be the general manager of the Raiders and take care of a lot of the day-to-day stuff. But any big decisions Tom Brady's involved in. So you've got that. Tom Brady handpicked the coach and the quarterback, who appear to be washed up, the coach and the quarterback at the same time there. And so you look around, and first it was the special teams guy, as Tom Brady's standing there every few weeks now, and he's drop-kicking someone in the actual black hole. It was the special teams coach a couple weeks back. Now it's the offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, as he's out. So Chip Kelly is gone. He's gone. And so if you work on this staff with the Raiders, keep your resume updated, keep the car running in the parking lot there at the Raider facility in Henderson. The Grim Reaper wears Uggs and has a big basket of TB12 electrolytes. If you want some of those, he'll hook you up. Chip Kelly was the highest paid offensive coordinator in football this year, and the Raiders are 30th in offense, 31st in scoring. That is a refund situation. And Chip Kelly's got 2 more years at $12 million total, so $6 million a year, not to coach the Raiders. Man, and I mentioned they averaged a little over 15 points a game, the Raiders. That makes you qualified if Chip Kelly wants to coach the Iowa Hawkeyes. He can coach Iowa in the Big Ten. That's about Iowa Hawkeye territory. 15 points per game there. That is a low blow. I'm pretty sure Chip Kelly did not forget how to coach. He was part of the Ohio State staff that won the championship last year. And with Vegas, you look around the room there with Vegas, and he is attempting to polish turds. And guess what? Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Chip Kelly's trying to polish turds, and there's supply chain issues at the turd polish factory. So he's run out of turd polish, unfortunately, there. And the theme song for the Raiders this season, as bad as it's gotten, is a Toby Keith classic, The Wacky Tobacco, because a lot of those guys with the Raiders are smoking the Wacky Tobacco right now. Chip Kelly's gone. The scoreboard hasn't changed. And they had to have a new fall guy. The Raider assistants, they must be checking their pulse hourly there. If you're an assistant coach for the Raiders, the silver and black disease remains undefeated. And is this going to be a one-and-done situation for Pete Carroll? Are they going to remove Pete Carroll? They've already undermined Pete. They got rid of the tripod, right? You've got the coach, but then you've got the tripod. You've got the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, and the special teams coordinator. So they've gotten rid of two of the three. Two of the three they've gotten rid of. That means that Pete Carroll is on the short list, and he would be the next guy to go. Now, final thought, staying with the game and the Raiders and the Browns, not only did Chip Kelly get whacked, the man that's responsible, the coach killer, as we like to call him, Geno Smith there, totally incompetent. Cameras caught in over his head, drowning Raider quarterback, Geno Smith, who decided he had enough. The man who's known legendary, Mr. Softy, Geno Smith, cannot handle any criticism, and he decided he wanted to clap back at some fans that were giving him the business. After the humiliation situation, losing at home by 2 touchdowns, getting sacked 10 times, Geno Smith, the sack is a quarterback stat. So as Smith was sashaying his way off the field there in Vegas, the fans were serenading him, goofing on him, making fun of him, and as he was making his way to the tunnel, well, Geno Smith was caught on candid camera, and he was flipping off some of the heckling Raider fans there. You can see him doing it in slow-mo. There's video that's gone viral. Even our friend Inca Terror, who's blind, has seen that. So the question, how do you read Geno Smith and his one-finger salute? One-finger salute to some Raider fans. Not Browns fans. Raider fans. So they've been saying over the years the fish rots from the head down. In the case of the Las Vegas Raiders, it rots from their $37.5 million a year quarterback on the way down. There's a lot of brain rot there with Geno Smith. Hypersensitive. You talk about onion. He's onion-skinned, Geno. Overly emotional. He's verklempt. Sacked 10 times. You know how bad a quarterback you have to be sacked 10 times? Like, you should go get another job if you're that bad at your job. But what about the offensive line? Oh, my God. Oh, shut up. You don't know ball. 10 sacks. And then flip your own fans off as you're coming off the field. That's your franchise quarterback right there. That's the Raiders. And that's the face that Pete Carroll decided that he wanted to go into his bunker. He said, I want that guy. He's the ultimate bunker buster. In Geno Smith, he is. So Geno looks like the world's most expensive crash test dummy as he continues to amaze on a weekly basis here as the pressure is mounting. And when the pressure mounts, Geno just gift wraps the sack. The Browns have a good defense. This is a historical game for the Cleveland Browns. And so you look around. The sack, again, is a quarterback statistic. He isn't unlucky. Geno is slow. And there's another quarterback who's not very good but avoids sacks now, Davis Mills. We saw him with the Texans back on Thursday. Same crappy offensive line in Houston, which everyone said is terrible. Just get rid of the ball quicker, throw the ball away, and you play a clean game. Don't get sacked one time. Not one time do you get sacked. Not one time do you get sacked. And then in this game, 10 times. Because Geno doesn't know what the hell he's doing on a lot of these plays, and it's a shame. You hold the ball like you're waiting for Shakespeare to finish writing Act 3, and you're like, I gotta. He's writing it on the ball, so I'm just gonna wait for Shakespeare to finish. Well, Shakespeare's dead. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna wait for him to finish. I want him to finish. And the moment right now, in this moment, we worry about today's show. You look at Geno Smith, who is 31st in the NFL. 31st in the NFL among quarterbacks. He's behind Davis Mills, the aforementioned Davis Mills, barely ahead of Dylan Gabriel, who was taken out with a concussion. And so Geno's not just playing bad. That would be okay. He's becoming a coach killer. As we mentioned previously, the Raiders getting rid of some coaches here. And the middle finger, that was not really for the fans so much as that middle finger was for Chip Kelly. Go to the guillotine, Chip. You're number one in line at the guillotine. Number one! So the Raiders thought they hired a savior in Pete Carroll, and they had paid big money for Chip Kelly and all this stuff, and now they have a $37.5 million guy, a quarterback who can't play, who's an emotional landmine in Geno Smith, and superstars run all of these pro sports leagues, and when your star detonates in slow-mo, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. You don't have a quarterback. You have a lot of turbulence. There's a lot of turbulence there with Geno Smith.